And then we've got another, thank you very much. And then we have another exercise afterwards. So I want you to stay and be part of it because you're going to learn so much. And I want to also share some other opportunities where you can dial in or get connected to these decision makers as well. Because my thing is, if I do it for myself, I'm happy to share because we're all very different. And even if there's someone else in the room that does something similar to what I do, it's never going to be the same way. So I'm unafraid to share my connections, unafraid to share my opportunities with you. So I'm going to do that with you as we go on. So thank you all for your messages, email, or at least I know my emails are working. Brilliant, brilliant, brilliant. All right, so let me share my screen and let us get going. Right, okie dokie. So today although I've called it Executive Roundtable, we're going to be talking about other things. So we'll also include lunch and learns. And I also want us to touch on some other entry strategies that you can use. Because for some of you, executive roundtables won't be the best fit. And for others, it will be the best fit. So we're going to find what's the best fit for what you do. And that's what I want you to share with me so I get some insight into that. So I thought I would just do a quick intro because there's some people who don't know me and there's some people who are new from Clubhouse and they have not seen me present, although I do workshops and group coaching sessions every week with the different coaching groups I have. So to those who are new to me, my name is Michelle Raymond. I run a HR and coaching consultancy and I deliver training to large corporations and smaller SMEs. And this is why I feel like I'm uniquely positioned to share these things with you because they are tried and they are tested and they work. So this is why I wanted to put this on this workshop. So there are people who are part of this cohort right now who are part of my program. And this is usually especially just for them, but I wanted to open it up for everybody else. And I'm also joined by the lovely Adrian. Thank you for opening us up this evening. And Adrian is here because he brings some very unique skills and abilities to the table, and in a way that I can't do. And I know how good I am and I know my limitations. And this is where Adrian's really good because he's very good at the tendering process, how to put proposals together that work, and it's always about co-creating your proposals so that it's very hard for them to say no if they were part of the planning of your proposal. We'll speak a little bit more about that and Adrian will a bit later. All right, so with that being said, this is what I want us to do is make the most of this workshop, engage in the chat and also in the breakout rooms. Please stay on mute if you're not speaking, because I want it to be a really great experience for everybody and also to protect your own privacy. Also forget that I knew it already, reduce distractions, show up on camera if you can. If you can't, that's fine. I'm not one of those people you have to come on camera, but I know that you'll get a better experience if you do so. So this is what we're going to be talking about. Adrian, we've got 2 people in the waiting room. If you could let them in, that'd be great for me. So we're going to be talking about how to decide on your high value entry. What does that look like? What's going to work for you? How to host and deliver that high level strategy. So I'm going to show you 2. We're going to concentrate on executive roundtables or peer-to-peer roundtables and lunch and learns. And I'm going to show you a structure on how to do that. And then I want to share with you some ways. And when I mean some, I actually have about 30 ways that you can offer your additional service. And, you know, we can have a discussion another time about how you do that, but I want to give you some ideas that can start generating some ideas for you on what you can do for corporate markets. So the question is, why now? Why is now the right time to do this? Because small and medium and large organizations are investing heavily in external support because there are people in their companies who've been doing the same thing the same way. But COVID has shown us that we have to work differently, and they don't know exactly what to do and how to do it. So they are looking at people or consultants that come with expertise. They come with something different to add to the table, a different perspective. So this is why now it's critical more than ever to show people what you can do, have those conversations. I'm always talking about the more hands you shake, the more money you make. And I can tell you that is to be truth. I was just yesterday, I was trying to apply for some roles for my daughter to do some work experience. She wants to work in property. She wants to work in real estate and be a broker. And I was talking about it on my social media and to somebody else last week. And then an opportunity came up with Jones Lang LaSalle, and I applied. When the lady who sent me this over, I asked her, oh, what's happening in your world? What's happening at Jones Lang LaSalle? And for those that don't know who they're a very big brand. They deal with property and lots of investments. And she said to me, she told me what she was doing, and she goes, and what's happening with you? And I said, oh, at the moment, I'm doing lots of work around D&I. I'm doing lots of leadership and inclusion work. And she said to me, oh my God, it will be great to have you on board. We would love to have you come in and do a lunch and learn, or to do some mentoring with some of our property people. Literally, I didn't pitch for it. I didn't ask for it. It was just through conversation. So I just want to remind you all, do not deny and do not discourage the power of just talking to people. You might think, oh, I'm talking too much. I'm saying too much. It's never too much. As long as you're serving people from the highest level, it works. So with that being said, I want you always to think through this 2 hours together. The buying priorities of a corporate is always about, can you increase my sales or can you reduce my costs? Those are the only two priorities. So think about your offers, and we're gonna talk about what that can be. Are you going to help them increase sales in some way? And that could be, it doesn't mean that you're going to help them be better sellers. It could be increasing sales or reducing costs in terms of people management, making sure that they have the right staff with the right skill sets in the right places, so that it reduces redundancies, it reduces resignations. So you have to look and make sure that whatever you can offer, it does one of the two. Or if it can do both, that's even better, because that's all they're interested in. So let's look at some of the high value strategies that you can consider. So executive roundtables, everybody knows this, lunch and learns, but there might be some others on here that you haven't really thought about. So I want you to take a note of some of these. If you've got any questions, please put them in the chat. And Adrian, check the chat for me because I can't see it. And
yeah, I've got it. I'll take care of that. No problem.
Awesome. So have a look at some of those. And I don't want you to decide now, because I want you to go into your breakout rooms and think about what you could do. But this is what I want you to think about. If you're going to go for a webinar, or if you're going to go for a lunch and learn, what would it be about? And why would your offer be good as a lunch and learn? Now, I know there's a couple of you in here, because I know you're in the course. I know that executive roundtables won't be good for you. Lunch and learns could work, but you might think that actually doing an assessment, offering a free audit might be the way in. So I'm going to give you some examples. And these are some of the examples of some of the areas that are key to corporates right now. Feel free to screen grab that. The last time I had this on, I went through it too quickly. So take a picture of it. These are some of the things that you can do. So I want you to think, does what I offer, what I do, or what I sell to entrepreneurs, can it fit into one of these categories? Does it fit? Or it might be, there might be some crosses. Actually, I know I can do health and well-being. That means I can also do work-life balance. That's fine. You can have more than one. It doesn't matter with corporates. It really doesn't matter, because you can give it whatever title you want. And this is the difference when you're working with entrepreneurs and working with corporates. We talk about executive roundtables, but you can call them peer-to-peer roundtables. You can call it facilitated discussions. So you don't need to worry about, oh my God, it's not called executive roundtables. I don't like that word. You call it whatever you like, whatever works for you, because you're going to be pitching it to these organizations. Whatever title you give it is the title it will be. So I want you to take note of what's that on the screen. I'm going to move on to the next slide. So hopefully you've got that. So I wanted to give you an example here of three critical areas. And that's why I want to call them either critical areas or priority areas: health and well-being, leadership and development, and work-life balance. So let's see, if you wanted to do health and well-being, you could do that as a facilitated discussion with corporates. You could do it with CEOs, you could do it with department heads, you could do it with, remember, in large organizations, they have departments, but they also have smaller initiatives. And that's why I don't want you to overlook that. Let's say you want to do some work for IBM. That's a massive organization. What you want to do is go into a department and then find out from the departments if they're running any initiatives. And I'm going to show you at the end how you find that out. So this grid just shows you how you can use health and well-being as a facilitated discussion. You can also use it as do a training, a short training on why mental health matters. I think there's Linda's here. Linda is creating like a lunch and learn, and she's talking about how to manage mental health for managers. And that's really great, because there's many managers that they don't know what to do. They don't know the first thing to do. So for her to put on a little teach about that and get some discussions going is perfect entry. Or you can do survey. You can just do, there's somebody in the group here who I know, she's a happiness coach. And what will be really great for her is to do a survey, go in and do an audit to find out, how happy are your people? You may think they're happy, but are they really? And link happiness with business priorities and business outcomes. Yeah. And then we can do the same for leadership. You can have a moderated discussion on a particular leadership theme that matters. Remember, think of the business priorities: increasing sales or reducing cost. Right now, there's no business, or there might be, let me not say there's none, but there's no business right now who are thinking, oh, let me just get in an external consultant and pay them 3-5 grand on a nice to have. Right now, it's business critical, not any nice to haves. So I want to make sure that your offers fit into those business criticals. And then the last is work-life balance. You can have a peer-to-peer discussion where you might want to have some of the senior leadership females in a room where you're discussing, how are you managing work-life balance? How are you managing this hybrid? And you're the host who is holding it all together. You're facilitating the discussions. So these are areas that you can be thinking about, because right now I want you to go into breakout rooms. So Adrian, if you could, while I just talk about the slide, start putting the breakout rooms together.
So apologies. Can you make my PC co-host as well, and then I'll set the breakout room for you. You'll see. You want
me to make you co-host?
Yeah, PC, Adrian Betton PC, and you'll see that.
Okay, let's have a look.
Thank you. And I'll set up the breakout rooms.
All right, I see you. Brilliant, all done. So with that in mind, what I want us to do now is I want you to go into some breakout rooms, and I want to give it about 10 minutes. No, let's make it 5 minutes. I think 10 minutes is too long. Let's do 5 minutes, because I want you to think fast. I want you to think about which one of those that you saw on the list will work well for you and why. So and before you do that, I want you to introduce yourself to each other. And this is really key, because networking and partnerships and referrals are key to getting into the corporate market. So let your partner know who you are, what you do, and then I want you to share, I think a fireside chat. And a fireside chat is just is a new age term for a discussion. But tech companies, they talk about fireside chats. All right. So you can kind of get an idea of which types of words to use for different organizations. And you'll say, you know, why a fireside chat would work really well and explain why. So this is what I want you to do. So I want us to go into our breakout rooms now. And I think Adrian is setting that up. And then I want us to come back in the room and I want to hear some shares. And I'm going to make a note of what some of you guys are saying, because I'm always thinking of how we can connect people into different organizations. All right. So with that being said, how are we doing for the breakout rooms?
Breakout rooms all set. You should be able to join now.
Perfect.
I will send a message, and you might see me jump in and out, but I'll send a message to let you know how long we're going to be in advance, okay?
Perfect. Perfect. Right. So let's have some shares. Now, guys, do you know how to use the virtual hand raising? It will make my life easier if you said yes. What I want you to do, and I need it to be snappy as well. So I want us to learn the art of speaking pithy, which means you get your message across quickly, succinct, because let's say if I'm a buyer, like Adrian's a buyer, right? I'm the gatekeeper to a buyer. I want to hear what you could offer. What could you offer our services and why? At this point, I just want to know which, just tell me what you do. Tell me which one of those strategies will work well for what you do and why. As simple as that. So I want to take a couple of people, just put your virtual hand up. You can find that at the bottom. If you press participants, if you can see participants. And there's a virtual hand. Brilliant. I can see some people doing it. Let's go in order. Lynn, my darling.
Hi, beautiful lady.
Hi, we're recording now, aren't we? So you can all get access to what you say. Okay, go for it.
I'm Lynn Erasmus, and I'm about to launch my cultural intelligence workshop. So this is something that I did do in South Africa, and I actually thought that I lost all my work. So I'm quite excited to recently have discovered that I had it all along on a hard drive. So I'm just waiting for my website, and then I'm ready to rock and roll. And I'm going to go for the lunch and learn for now. Like Judith explained, you know, it's a good way to show off what you can offer. But I can also do a survey. So if the company just want a quick little survey, I can give them an estimate of how culturally aware the company is. Nice. And obviously how it can influence their bottom line. Yeah. And then obviously my big service that I want to sell to them is the keynote, where I talk on culture, innovation, and change.
Nice.
So strategy.
So let me stop you there. So you said, and I'm going to pick up on what everybody says. You said so it can impact the bottom line. What does that mean?
Make more money for them.
Right. So that's what you say. Make more money for them. That's what they want to hear. Direct. You know what we're so used to saying all the right terminology, like it will impact your bottom line. That's great for marketing. But when you're speaking to a decision maker, you say, I can put on, I would love to deliver a lunch and learn session with some of your team members, because the outcome of this is I can make you more money because A, B, and C. You just say it directly. All right, great, love it.
Can I add to that as well? I think specificity is quite key as well. Saying you can make more money, but where could you make more money, with who, and how much, or by what percentage? All of those turn on the buyer's ears, because it shows that you've actually quantified and you have a realistic understanding of where that is going to impact.
So they want to see stats.
Sometimes. What I'm trying to say is that we shouldn't leave the statement so wide that it can't be classified into something.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
Perfect. Brilliant. Let's keep it moving. Marjolaine, over to you, my darling.
It's one. It's Maria Lane, so it's a soft Y. Soft J.
Soft J.
Y in it, should do. So I support women to improve their health through nutrition and lifestyle. And in terms of how that can benefit a company, I can increase the productivity of your team and reduce the sick days. There's a lot of evidence to show that sometimes women are not giving the actual reason why they're off sick, and often it could be PMS, endometriosis, mood, all of these things. I think the executive roundtable will be really interesting and quite an intimate size, and I got some really good and helpful feedback from the group on that, and also actually then leading into a lunch and learn potentially when you've identified the key issues.
Yeah. Love it. I like it. I really like it. Thank you so much. I'm making a note of that. Brilliant. Mercy, then Linda. Where's Mercy?
Okay. All right. So, okay, awesome. So, all right. So I came in the class today, didn't have a clue what I was doing, right? So I came up with an idea, and the idea is to share some strategies, right, on how to sell more, either for recruiting, expansion, or enrolling new clients to service-based professionals. So I'm specifically looking to work with service-based professionals and to share strategies, tips and tricks to support them so that they can recruit. If they're recruiting, if they're enrolling, whatever their sales is, to expand that business, that agency, right? So, okay. Yeah, and so my way in would be to do the lunch and learns. Mm-hmm. And so I don't have the measurement. I don't have, I'm not that specific. I just know it's heart-centered professionals. I'm a very much a yellow personality, right? But I have had to develop a red personality, right? And that's not easy for yellow personality individuals to do. And especially if their job requires them to be a little red, right? To get results, to be results driven. So I can develop some training around that to support them to be results driven.
Results driven. I like that. So that's the key word here. Yeah, results driven. And you can do a lunch and learn. Brilliant. Good stuff. Good stuff. I'm going to keep it moving. I just want to take two more, Linda and then Amelia.
Hey, yeah, mine is mental health in the workplace. So I'm working with managers of all levels. The two lunch and learns that I'm actually starting to send out at the moment. One is how to talk about mental health, and the other one is how to manage mental health in teams. The idea is I sent them directly to directors, HR managers, for them to pick people from their staff to come onto the lunch and learns. From there, I want to get them on a round table to talk about the facts and the myths of mental health. And from there, I can pick up what their training needs are, and I can go back to them and sell them a training package. And that's what
love it. Love it, love it, love it. And don't worry, at the end, I'm going to share with you lots of other ways, because we think it might be just training, but there's other things you can offer, because you want to make yourself distinct and unique. So I'm going to share some tips with you. Brilliant. Thank you for that, Linda. Last but not least, Amelia.
Yes, hi, Michelle. So I work with Calvin Clay People Development, and our focus is to help African businesses empower their human resource personnel, and also to work with organizations who want to do business with on the continent. We are going to go with the Roundtable. We use all these other tools because we work as an organization, but for our key service, when we want to enter new markets, particularly Nigeria, Liberia, and others, we are looking at the Roundtable because we've noted that there's a significant skills gap. There's a challenge when it comes to session planning. And so we want to push our services focused around coaching and mentorship, so that we can help organizations increase their productivity, reduce their operational costs, and then deliver results, because talent acquisition is expensive. So we want to reduce that cost while making sure that they are able to grow their businesses in the long term.
Nice, good. Because later on, I want us to do an exercise, and I want you to actually write out the plan of your lunch and learn or your roundtable. So this is good. So guys, this is brilliant. I love the shares. Thank you so much. I'm going to keep it moving because of time. And I want us to explore now how to deliver or host these roundtables. How do you invite people to come and all of those great stuff? So we're going to do that right now. What am I doing? Slideshow. That would help, Michelle. Right. So let's do this now. Right. So let's see why roundtables may work for you as opposed to something else. They're an opportunity for participants to get together in an informal setting to examine the issues as they relate to a particular topic or a theme that is a current business priority. So that's what I really want to make sure that people really appreciate, that it's, when I say it's informal, you know, you can do this on Zoom, you can do this in person. And what makes it more informal is that, you know, people, they don't have to come like hugely prepared because you're the host, or you can get somebody else to facilitate. But usually if we as the external consultants, we want to be the one to host it and to facilitate the discussions. So we need to know the topic in depth and really ask some empowering questions to get some feedback from different people as well. All right. So then your roundtables, they could be a one-off or they could be a series of roundtables. So you could either pitch it as a one-off to them, you want to do this, and in the hope that you can do the training or all your additional services, or you might say, for the month of October, I'm doing a mini series of roundtables, and you can mix it, a mini series of roundtables and lunch and learns for the month of October, which in the UK is Black History Month. So you could do something like that. So I don't want you to feel that I can only do it one thing. You can really mix and match both things. They are usually, and there's no set time, but they're usually about an hour, 2 hours in length. And this is literally because the types of people that you might have there, you might have some really senior people in the room who like to talk, or sometimes you might have to really yank it out of them. But sometimes I will say, give it about 1 to 2 hours, because 2 hours goes really quickly. So I would usually do it between 1.5 hours. Sometimes I've done it less, and to have about 8 to 12 participants, because I like to have it quite intimate, so you can really get to hear from everybody. And plus, you can do your roundtable within one organization and get seniors or peer-to-peer from one organization, or you can organize a roundtable and you invite people from different organizations so they get to network with each other. So that's why you don't want it to be like 15, 20 people in this roundtable, especially if you're going to invite other people from other organizations. So that's another thing to think about, whether you want to do the roundtable for just one organization or you host it. So you're like almost the center and you're inviting different CEOs or different CFOs or department heads to this roundtable. So you can think about those things, all right? And then the last area is around, make sure that your peer-to-peer roundtables, your executive chats, your facilitated discussions, you're talking about strategies, insight, rather than things that you can Google. You want there to be depth of knowledge, because these are senior people. And I don't want you to think, oh, actually, Michelle, I'm probably not good enough, or I'm not the right person, because there's going to be areas that you know that they don't know. And for example, we just heard like from Linda, who was talking about mental health for managers. Now we know, and I know for a fact, there are managers out there that don't have a clue. And all they read is whatever they've read. All they know is whatever they've read on Google. But Linda can bring some true insight with her 20 years of knowledge. So you don't have to be a CEO yourself. So that's the first thing I just want to dismiss. You don't need to be a CEO yourself. So we're going to go through now. Look at these. I'm going to give you examples of each of these because I want you to do it yourself afterwards. the very first thing you want to do is think of a powerful theme that will raise their interest and aligns to their pressing issues. That's the first thing that you need to think about when you're putting on either a lunch and learn or an executive roundtable. What's the theme? What am I going to be talking about? What's happening? Relate it to that grid that I showed you of all the critical priority areas. I hope you took a picture of that. Relate it to something which is on there, okay? So here is an example. Strategic female leadership despite VUCA, and which it stands for volatility, uncertainty, complexity, and ambiguity. So this is my title. This is my topic. That's my theme. Very high level. So we're not just, just talking about how to get better staff. I want to do something, and I put the word strategic so they know that will resonate with them. Female leadership in spite of what's going on around them. That's what that's about. That's my theme. Then you need to create an outline to provide more background on that theme. So here's the background. I am not going to read it all to you, but basically I'm just giving them an idea and just saying how the workplace has changed. It has shifted. Your role has properly shifted. The requirements and the expectations of your leaders may have changed. So how is that going to affect you as a female leader in your organization? How do you show up? How do you raise your personal brand with the changes that's going on in the world? So that is the background to the theme. Then you want to highlight the benefits. Why should they come? Because your female leaders will leave the event with a clear plan of action to deal with unplanned challenges, equipping them with the new tools and to manage the changes that have been caused by COVID and the impact it has had on their role. So this is why I think your leaders should come. This is why I think you should hand select a few of your female leaders, because it's related to them and they're going to have a plan of action, how to deal with changes that's happening in the world, that's happening in the workplace. Then I want you to state the outcomes. So for me, I've just put, following the roundtable, you'll receive a short report and I'll provide you with recommendations if required. So I want them to know that, because that's where I'm going to do my add-on sales. Then you want to let them know that they can nominate either senior, this is for senior leaders, you can do it for whoever. So I want them to know that they can nominate senior leaders from their organizations to attend. Then this is what I would write. Please, can you nominate 2 female leaders from your organization who will benefit from this roundtable, that will be able to filter the information that I'm going to share at the roundtable to their respective departments. Because I want to make sure that it gets filtered through the different organizations. Okay, I did this with Amazon, and I did it to a point that I said to them, I'll do it with one department first, but I want you to share my content. So I allow them to access the content. I want you to share it with other people that you think might find it useful. And because of that, then I had another department from Amazon contact me, because they said, I saw what you did for that other department. Can you do something similar for us? And would you believe I'm doing that? And then another department came back to me and said, I've seen what you did for another department. So you want to make sure that your content is great, your delivery style is rich and engaging, that they will recommend you. This happens. And now I'm on the preferred suppliers list for Amazon as an external facilitator, literally because I started off just by doing a lunch and learn, which I did for free. We're going to be talking about money later, which I did for free. Then decide whether you wish to charge. Look, we're here, right? Do you want to charge for your roundtables? Now, put in the comments, do you want to charge, or do you want to do it free of charge to get a foot in the door? Let me see in the comments. There's no right or wrong with this answer, by the way.
So we've got a couple of people that want to do charge, some people that want to do free right now. Most people are saying free initially. Okay. And those free to get a foot in the door.
Good. And those who put charge, how much would you like to charge? I will give you a figure afterwards, but I just want to find out from you, if you had to put on a 45-minute lunch and learn, or an hour 90-minute executive roundtable, how much would you charge?
So we've got 2K, we've got £1,000. We've got.
Oh, I like the 2K. Who wrote 2K? Show
Mercy
yourself.
Jenkins. Yeah.
Mercy. Okay, then you're 2K, and this is, remember, with it's not impossible. Not impossible. If it's a company that knows you, it's not impossible. If they don't know you, it might be a little bit harder.
We've got £12 and £25, which is from Linda, which I assume is per person.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You can do it per person as well, of course. Mm-hmm. Good. Brilliant. So I love these shares. Keep them coming. Then I want you to state where they can book or whether you'll have a phone call. And, you know, we can call them BD phone calls, or we can call them discovery phone calls, you know, whatever title you want to give it, just to get a bit more, if they need more clarity on what's going to happen, you can offer that. So this is what I will put. Please send us an email at michelle@thepeoplespartner.com stating that you are interested in nominating 2 female leaders, and we will send you confirmation. And of course, you let them know the time, the date, and the location. So that is the structure of your invitation. It works the same for lunch and learns. It works the same for a fireside chat, for a webinar. Be very structured. And I separated them all out so you can see and you can follow through to make sure you've ticked every box. So with corporate lunch and learns, it works more or less the same, but they have it's slightly different. Corporate lunch and learns work really well if you want to introduce a new idea to a team of people. So it might be a new idea or a new perspective or a different perspective, or you want to remind them of something. It's really good for demonstrations. So you have to know your subject matter very well, because you're actually going to be teaching it, and then you might have some discussions and some Q&As afterwards. It's ideal for sharing industry tips and tricks to help further other people's careers. It's usually held about 40 to 45 minutes because it happens during lunch. Choose a highly relevant topic as the focal point. So have one thing, the one main thing that you're going to be talking about, and then you might have like different arms to it, but don't be talking about 3 or 4 different things. You just won't be able to do that very well in 40, 45 minutes. And the participants in this particular case can be unlimited, but I would always cap it to a manageable number. So I've done lunch and learns and I've had 40 people, then I've had 100 people, but I couldn't see anybody because the platform that this organization used was not Zoom, was not Microsoft Teams, it was their own brand, so I couldn't see anything. So that's something you want to bear in mind. If you want to put on a lunch and learn or a roundtable or a fireside chat, and you want to make it interactive, so you want to get feedback from people and people to come off mute, you need to check with the organization what platforms they use. Because some platforms, if they have their specific platforms, like very large organizations like Apple, like IBM, they have their own platforms that they've created. So you need to find out from them, does it allow that interaction?
A question for you, Michelle. So Katrina Douglas is asking, can you have roundtables with people from different organizations, or would you recommend to keep all attendees from the same company?
I would say you can do both. You can definitely do both. And remember, you can do one roundtable today. You can do another in 6 months' time. And you can do one just with one organization where you're dealing with a specific issue that pertains to them. And I'll show you how you can find that out. Or you can do, like I said before, you can be the center point and you're inviting different organizations to nominate a leader, a CEO or an executive or a team member to that roundtable. So either works, and they both work. Yeah. Any other questions? Any other questions that I need to take?
Nothing at the moment. I think we're good.
Okay. Brilliant. Good. Right. So should I charge? And if I should charge, how much? So I already posed the question to find out. So some people said 1,000, 2,000. Some people said, did I see 12,000? I wrote down 12,000 anyway. And there's no rule whether you should charge or not. Now, what I have done Initially, I hadn't charged because I thought I just want to get in. So I just want to offer my services for free. But I did let them know if I come in again to do something similar, it would be a chargeable service. And I told them up front how much that would be if I had to do another lunch and learn. So that's an option. But how I see it, and I'm sitting from the perspective, if it's a new organization, let's like it's a cold lead, I will definitely do it for free, because how I see it, I need to create that bond of trust and they see me as a trusted advisor. I don't want to go in as a salesperson. I'm not a salesperson. I don't want them to see me as a salesperson. I want them to see me as an advisor, as a consultant who is coming to deliver this so that they can get a taste of what I can offer, and then in the hope that they can work with me again later. So you can charge, and I can tell you that what I charge anything between 1,000 and 2,000 for a lunch and learn, or for an executive roundtable. But what I've done with the lunch and learns, I have capped it, or else I would charge per person. So that's a figure I have used. You can go way higher than me. That's perfectly fine. You can go lower than me. That's fine as well. To find a number that you feel comfortable in. And that is what I would always say when you're charging. Find a number that, and when I say it's comfortable, that it's not going to be awkward for you to say. Energetically, it works for you, because when you show them the benefits of this roundtable, the outcome just of the roundtable or the lunch and learn, that what they can get from that, when you then say, actually, and I run these roundtables for 3.5K, would it be of interest to you? If that figure resonates with you, and you know you've done your due diligence where you found out information about them, so it's hitting them where it needs to be hit, then it works. It works. They can turn around and say to you, yes, that works for me, or no, we don't have the budget for it. Then you have another negotiation discussion. All right. So I can see there's some comments.
Couple questions. I wanted to comment as well, Michelle, in regards to your statement. What we're talking about here is how you frame the conversation. And it's important that when you lead into a conversation with any corporate, that you frame it in the best way. So you could frame it that what you're coming to provide is going to be free and it's going to be chargeable in the future, or it could be free forever, but you expect to get something in return. Maybe you're getting some client testimonials, or the information or access to certain people. That's something. And also, you know, you have to consider, what are they going to get in exchange for this lunch and learn? Is this something that they could just type into Google and get back? Or is it that you're providing something that is quite unique, your insight, your experiential expertise, that they can't get elsewhere, which is what you're going to be putting in as an exchange. So consider how you frame your conversation. But going in for free isn't bad, because remember that there is much more value in sometimes the information that you garner from a lunch and learn that you can use going forward. And obviously the visibility as well. By understanding what their pain points are, or an organization's pain points, or the people that are in there, that gives you the ability to frame and create your proposal, your pitch, your next step with them, your next conversation with them, very, very much more targeted than just open and piecemeal. It's going to be really targeted to their pain point, and you're going to be seen as somebody that can help with that. Is that helpful? So we also have a couple other questions as well. So let me pick this up. If the participants are heads of different businesses, would you charge, and how much? That's one question. Mm-hmm. The second question is, would you have a series of lunch and learns, and is it better to have them in the same week, or one per week, or one per month? Mm-hmm. And the last question is, how do I structure my fees according to time? E.g., I offer a 2-hour workshop versus a full-day training. Also, I call it a workshop or training.
Perfect. I love that. Okay, I'm going to work backwards because by memory. The 2-hour workshop. So it works the same. It could be a workshop, lunch and learn. My question is, if you already charge for a 2-hour workshop, what is that figure? Let me come off so I can see you. So who asked that question? Where are you at? About the workshop, who is that? So how much do you charge if you're happy to share that is?
I was thinking for a 2-hour workshop to charge 1,200, and then for a full day 3,000.
And what types of companies are you targeting with these figures?
Companies that's got 100 or more staff members. And for now, I'm focusing on tech and space.
Okay, I can tell you from now, that's way too low for tech.
Good.
Only because, and you said over 100 staff. I mean, I've got clients with less than 100 staff, and if 1,200, they might think, is she good? So
for a 2-hour workshop.
Yeah.
Yay!
And this is why, and at the end, I'm going to give you a list of things to do your due diligence to find out about the company that you're going to be pitching into. So you can work out, you can find out in terms of their turnover, their profit, all of these kind of things will have an impact on how much you charge.
Okay.
Yeah. So £3,000 for a day's training, I think it's low.
Oh yeah,
I think it's low, but and I guess it also, and I guess it also you have to get a figure that you feel equates to the value you're going to give them and what they're going to get out of it.
Sure.
Yeah. Now you said, if I remember rightly, you talked about cultural intelligence or cultural change, and if you can hand on your heart say, actually, if they implement this and this happens and this happens. To hire staff, for example, is a minimum of about 7K. If you're getting good staff, if they're going to go to an agency, agency fees are like between 15 and 25%. So the fact that you can help them, which is going to reduce their need to get in new staff. This is what you put in your pitching document.
Yeah.
And Adrian's the king at proposals, but this is what you have to relate it to. How much they would usually pay for things and how you're going to save them on other areas. And then, so like 3K I think is quite low. So have a think about a figure, what that can work better.
For a 2-hour, because a 2-hour, I was just thinking for those people that don't have a lot of time, but I can condense all my information to them for like a flash 2-hour very intensive session.
Mm-hmm.
The value would probably be the same as a full day workshop because I'll be condensing it. I'll be taking out all the fluff and the fun that I would present in a full day.
And also bear in mind that whatever figure and this is for everybody, by the way, whatever figure you put on, if the figure feels a lot to you, add on, you also get this, you get this, you get this, you get this. They love that. So I did it for a record label, and I charged actually for a couple hours, I charged 2.5K, and I said, you also get a check-in. So I do like an embedding check-in session with them over 3 months. I also.
What does that mean? Sorry. What does that mean?
Because I did leadership training. So I said, for the next 3 months, I want to check in with your leaders to see how it's going. Have they implemented what I shared with them? So that was part of the 2.5K package.
Almost like a coaching? Is that what is this? Check in?
It's literally, I just wanted to check in, how's things going? And I did it by email.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. So you want to get the highest value for less of your time. That's what you want to do. That's what you want to do. So have a think of some numbers.
Can I also add to that as well? Always remember that you're looking at the organization, but look at it based on their scale and also the scale of your delivery. You're not just delivering to one person, you're delivering to more than likely going to be a number of people. So, if you was delivering to 30 people or 40 people or 50 people, if you was to divide 2,000 by 50, that's how much per head you're doing. does that reflect your time, if that makes sense? But again, you know, you want to offer something that is of value for both you and for the buyer and for the team that they're, and for the exchange that they're going to be getting as a result of your intervention, your interaction, your conversations with them.
Okay, and just one more question. Would it make a difference that they don't know me?
That they don't know you?
Yes.
Well, this is where you have to make sure you've built some
visibility with them.
You have to put deposit in the bank before you can withdraw from the bank. Yeah,
absolutely right.
Everybody, you have to, especially if they don't know you.
Yeah.
Does your profile, does your website, does it look like what you're charging? Especially if they don't know you. The first thing they'll do is check you out. They'll check you out on your website. They want to see what work you've done, what clients you've worked with before. That's what they will do. Especially if they don't know you, because you're an unknown entity to them. They don't want to risk spending 5K, and 5K may not be anything to them, but they don't want to risk getting someone in who they don't really know, and they've gone on their website and the website's not working, or, you know, all of these stuff. So you have to make sure that you've got the collateral in the background ready for when they do their due diligence. Okay, cool. I'm going to move on. The other person was Rona. Would you have a series of lunch and learns? I would. I definitely. I wouldn't do them in the same week though, because I think it might be a bit too much. You can just space it out, and you might say to them, you could do it every other week possibly, and you can say, actually, I can do it for this department on this week, and in 2 weeks time I can do it for another department. So you can almost use that contact that you have as the central point to connect you with other departments. So you can do that as well. So that's so I probably would, I mean, you could do it in the week, but you wouldn't do it with the same department in that week.
Also, you could ask them about the frequency. Do it according to what they've got going on in their organization, because they'll tell you what the frequency they would prefer. They know what other things are happening.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point. So Amazon have come back to me, and they said they want me to do like these mini workshops. So they've called it a workshop. So I don't call it lunch and learn, but that's what it is. And they want me to do it once a month up until starting September to December. So they've told me how they want it, and that works for me. So we're just agreeing on the date and time. Yeah. Cool. Any, is that answer your question, Rona? Nice one. Good.
Yeah.
And the last question before we move on, if Columbus asks, if the participants are heads of different businesses, would you charge? Yeah, I think I would. Well, it's the same thing. It depends on if I am a known entity to these organizations. If I'm not, I know I have to do a bit more legwork. So let's say if I wanted to run an executive roundtable in September, I know that I need to might have to start doing the legwork now. That's how I would do it. So I would start talking to certain people. Now I'll be letting them know that actually in September, I'm going to be doing this executive roundtable on this date at this time. You know, do you know anyone from your team or your department that may be interested in coming? So I'll try and find a way in. And in terms of the charging, yeah, it's the same thing. I could charge. I haven't done it with different organizations, but yeah, you could charge. There's no harm. You see, the thing is with corporates, if you say that's the figure, that's the figure. They can take it or leave it. They can say, well, actually, we don't have a budget for it, or yes, we can do it. They're not going to ask you for a discount. They don't do discounts. They might negotiate with you, but they're not going to ask outright for a discount. They might negotiate with you and be prepared to negotiate. Yeah. Adrian, anything?
Last question, which is definitely one for yourself as well. Right, challenge. We often come up with this because HR not having budget for well-being. So it's buzzwords there for you. So I'll leave that in your hands.
Yeah. So I'm HR, right? Listen, I'm going to tell you, yeah, and I know there's some other HR people here. Listen, we are not the best people. We are not the best people. I'm going to tell you this from now. But if you've got a friend who is in HR, they will open up the doors for you. That's the other thing. So I would say everybody should have a HR person as a friend. Yeah. So
can
HR
I jump in?
doesn't have a budget.
Yeah.
Yeah, so from the HR perspective, HR itself does not have a budget. So, but what they do in some of the larger organizations, like it could be the people development, they will have like an L&D budget. They might have a health and wellness budget, and it could sit under HR. It might sit under a different name because they're different names in different organizations. So it's not HR having the budget. HR might be the person who hears, actually, we need to get more staff in here. There's people suffering from depression here, or whatever it is. They are the people who will know what's going on, because we have to keep a record of everything. But it might be worth talking to them and finding out from them who are the right departments to be speaking to about it. So you can go in that way. Go on, Adrian.
Can I? Yeah, I was going to say exactly that last point. Always remember that the person that might be paying for your service may not be the person that is having their service delivered for them, or the people that are responsible for the budget might be separate for the people as well. So as Michelle said, the key thing to do is to ask, who is responsible for this? Yeah, and so that could be, as Dawn has said quite helpfully, Dawn Jarvis, need to find out who is the director responsible within that organization, who is the stakeholder responsible. People like Michelle might be subject to myself. I'm procurement, and I might have given them a banding of in which they're allowed to spend money, or I might have given them some jurisdictions, as in to say, this is what the rules are for this organization. So, but you won't know that from the get-go. This is why you have to do a little bit of discovery beforehand, and that is simply to ask a question. And it could be a variety of people that you're talking to, yeah, to get to that answer. So there's no one size fits all. And also remember, depending on the size and scale and nature of the organization that you're interacting with, they're more likely to have structures that manage this. Again, but I'll say this as well, you will help me remind you this. Always consider, who are you delivering this to? Is it a person in the organization or the organization itself? There is a slight difference in how you interact.
Yeah. Okay, brilliant. So I'm going to move on, but I like this point that Amelia's raised. So she said in her experience, she's had organizations that's asked for discounts, which makes pricing for her very challenging, as most of the clients are corporate. So what would be a fair daily training rate? So training rates vary. They vary. There's no one.
It's a piece of string.
It is. But I can tell you that I got in, for one of my clients who's a property company, I got in, so this was 2 years ago now, but I got in a communication trainer, and I told her to, because I knew her, so I wanted her to get as much money as possible. I told her to pitch for £9,000 for the day. And the reason why I could tell her to do that, almost 10K for a day, is because I know the company. So I knew the challenges that they had. I knew the budget, and this is why you need to do your market research. I'll give you some links at the end where you can find out, about the company. So when she pitched the 9K, she actually ended up getting 8K, and they promised that they will also recommend her to other people within the property industry. She was happy to take that, and she's now doing some other work with some other property companies. So that's 8K, but then I know people who charge 6K or 5K. It really does vary, and that's why I always say you don't want to go. I would say for a day you want to go higher than 5K. I'm just putting it out there. I think 5K is the very minimum. But in terms of how high, it's up to you. It's definitely up to you. And once I say, once again, you find a figure that resonates with you, that you feel comfortable saying, because once you're stuttering when you're saying your figure and you look nervous, you sound nervous, you've lost it completely. So you say, this is what I can do. This is what this is the result. And I charge 10K for this. Silence. Do you know what I think we should do? We should do, Adrian, I've just thought of something. I think we should do some role play. Not today, but we should do.
Yeah, we'll definitely do that.
We have some role plays, and you can give objections. So that's a thing to do. So Yeah, so that's what I would say. So it it varies, but don't go lower than 5K. That's my opinion. Okay, guys,
Right,
let's get
Michelle,
back to work.
can I just ask a very quick question? So when you're talking about daily rates, is that the upsell from the roundtable discussions?
Yeah, I think we've heard. Yeah, we went into that because
Absolutely.
Nobody's going to do an executive roundtable for a day. But if you do training on the back of it, then yeah, you can charge 5K.
Can I quick respond to that? When you do an executive roundtable, when you do a lunch and learn, it's always for a reason, to solicit some kind of information and diagnostic and visibility with the organization. Then what comes after this is you're probably going to put in a proposal to do something else based upon those outcomes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and this is where you're going to put in your proposal, which might include a fee of 5K, 7K, 10K, but it's based on you delivering the outcomes, the pain points, the solutions to what you have discovered, because this is all discovery here within this roundtable and within this lunch and learn and bits and pieces. Somebody's put in the group, what does a roundtable mean? Would you like to explain that, Michelle?
It basically, simply, it's just a discussion.
Yeah, roundtable.
Yeah. It comes, there's a historical context with what's his name? Excalibur and the round table.
Okay, King, yeah.
Arthur. That's where it comes from, where they
King
found the main table and they had like senior people. So that's where it's come from. But really, it's just a facilitated discussion. We've just put, we've all just put really fancy names on it. Okay.
Imagine doing what we're doing here now. This could be a round table. We're not round, we're in all of these square boxes, but it's a round table. We're all around the table. We're discussing something, a point. And if we did that with purpose and we was auditing, we was having conversations, and there was bits that came out of that, that is where you get to understand what their pain points are, their requirements are. And then obviously that leads on to you doing a proposal that they're much more likely to take on. Yeah.
Brilliant. Okie dokie. I love that. Love that. So let's do this exercise. So here's the exercise. I want you to think of a theme. So I've already given you the structure or given you an example. I want you to think of a powerful theme that will raise their interest. Then I want you to create an outline, give more background to the theme, highlight the benefits, state what the outcomes are likely to be. And actually, I think I saw a mistake on my own slides. Part of the outcome is actually to say what people get on the back of it. State the date of time, like limited places apply and all of that jazz. Let them know that they can nominate certain leaders or team members. They don't just have to be leaders to attend. Decide whether you wish to charge and state where they can book and whether you will have a phone call with them. This is what I want you to do right now. And those
Can I just suggest that you take a quick picture of this so that you can use it in your breakout rooms? Are we doing this in breakout rooms?
No, I just know. Actually, I want them
do it now
individually. Yeah.
Okay, fine. Let them do it now. That's perfect. Then.
Yeah, let's do it that way. So I want you to do this, and I want you to think of, and everybody's clear what they can offer as the lunch and learn, which is like a taster of your training, or it's a taster of your service, right? That's what it will be. What else do I want you to do? Yeah, so I want you to do this. Those people who are on the program, you have the workbooks. You put that in your workbooks, please. And remember, they're editable because I want you to show me that. Between now and next week, I want to be able to see that. So for now, everybody else, I want you to write it down on whatever piece of paper you have, whatever notepad. Take a picture of that, like Adrian said, and I want to hear what it is. But once again, guys, let's make it snappy in the sense of say, hi, my name is Mercy. I want to deliver an executive roundtable on A, B, and C. This is the outline, and then you let me know what the outline is. So when I'm going to ask, I only want 3 shares, but I want you to follow this order. So you read it off your paper, obviously, follow the order, but I want it to go straight to the point. And I want to sit and listen as a buyer. I want Adrian to sit and listen to it as a buyer to see if it, you know, raises any interest and think, oh, actually, this sounds brilliant. This sounds great. That's the way that I want to receive the information that you're going to share. Okay, any questions before we do this? And I want to give, we are coming up to half past. No, we're half past. So I'm going to give you 10 minutes because I want you to think quickly on this as well. Any questions that I need to take before we get started? I don't see anything in the chat.
I think Mercy's got a hand up. Mercy, is this a new hand, old hand?
It was pertaining to something else, but I think we've moved on.
No problem.
Yeah, we've moved on now. Okay.
We'll take some more Q&As at the end as well, but I want to do this.
No,
and let's do this now. So write down what your themes will be.
Just going to ask that, Michelle.
wants to? Perfect. Who wants to share theirs with me? Go for it. Katrina's up first.
All right, thanks, Michelle. Let me unmute. All right, so where did I write it? Right, so the theme is increasing the ROI of your next project launch. The outline is optimizing your marketing strategy, choosing a high-performing launch team, ensuring ongoing success beyond the launch, and how to create an efficient and effective launch process. Benefits would be reduced organizational risk, a more profitable launch and a higher ROI on your marketing investment, and a more effective sales and marketing team. Only 12 spaces available, £500 per delegate, and you can book on the website.
I like it. Nice and snappy. I like it. And you know what? The product launch thing will go really well for like organizations who, you know, there might be something new happening in the market that they want to launch. Have you got any organizations in mind?
Not at the moment. Yeah.
So that's your.
Can I speak on that? Yeah, can I speak on that? I think that because you're looking at people that are going to launch, you want to network with organizations that might have newer companies or people that are going to do something as a launch. So you've got a Chamber of Commerce, you've got FSB, you've got those types of things. And also you've got people like accountants. Accountants are very much involved with businesses which are at this stage. And they can look for you.
Yeah, no, that's great. And I think a sweet spot that I'm after, I said I didn't know, but I kind of do. It's not kind of the new organizations, it's the established organizations that are at a pivotal point. That they're almost launching a new phase into the business, a new product launch or a new division, but they got money and they're launching something new, but they're not new organizations. So that's who it is. Yeah.
I like that. So, you know what came in my mind as you spoke? I just thought, you know, like the automotive industry, they're always launching new things to do with the cars and everything like that. What you need to find out is, where is there the gap? Where is there an issue between them launching, wanting to launch, and actually launching?
Doing it, yeah.
That's where you have to now make that a commercial priority, because I know you do this for entrepreneurs and it's easy to find the gap with entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
Now you need to find, from what you offer, the corporate and commercial priority.
Yeah.
So that's what you want to find out. But I think it's brilliant.
Perfect. Thank you. Thank you.
Cool. We've got Rona, then Mercy, and then we'll move on.
Hiya. Mine's not quite finished, but I will just read out what I've got so far. So my name is Rona Anderson. I want to lead a lunch and learn to improve a department's happiness in the workplace, happiness and productivity in the workplace. Employees have faced various challenges throughout the pandemic: stress, low self-esteem, isolation, which has impacted on their well-being and productivity. In this Lunch and Learn, I will share useful strategies to improve happiness, well-being, performance, and hence better work-life balance. Following the Lunch and Learn, you will receive a short report and recommendations on how improvements can be made. Sessions will be held one lunchtime per week for 4 weeks. This is a pilot and therefore will be free of charge. There will, however, be a small cost for materials. And if successful, there would be a charge for releasing this to other departments within the organisation. We will have a phone call and I will write up what has been agreed. A confirmation email from you would be great.
Very, very good.
The way that you pre-frame things, that I haven't finished, but clearly you've done it. I think it sounds really good. And then what I would want, and this is for everybody actually, is I'm going to show you some business intelligence, the corporate collaborative. You've got access to this already. but then in your pitch, let's call it a pitch, or your email, you just throw in a few stats in there. That's for Katrina, Rona, and for everybody. Just to say, you know, I've been doing some research on your company or on your industry, but this is why you're validating why this lunch and learn will be great, because you've already done your due diligence and you know there's a gap, or you know this is an initiative that they're working on. Perfect.
I add from a buyer's point of view as well. So I do like that. Love what Michelle said, by the way. Question for you and for everybody to think of is when we're sending this in, think if this is unsolicited or solicited. By that, I mean, do they know anything about you? Do they know anything about happiness? Do they know anything about these terms that we're using on our conversation? Sometimes we need to define happiness for the audience that's reading. For example, I'm a procurement director, but I very rarely use the word procurement. I normally use buying because most people understand that. And it's just because of the audience. It's less explanation that has to be used. Yeah. So how would you define happiness? Just have those thoughts in there. And what would be the traits of an unhappy office or a happy office or workforce? That can really help somebody identify if, oh, I think that is what our organization needs, or individuals within our organization might be happy to do that. And it's just a suggestion, because not everybody's as skilled in what you do as you do.
Yeah, love it.
Great, thank you.
Yeah.
Love it. Good. Mercy, over to you, and then we'll continue.
Okay, awesome. I realized I actually didn't fill everything in, but anyway, here goes.
Go for it.
Okay, awesome. All right, so okay, reading my own handwriting here. Okay, so my topic is to empower service-based professionals to develop their results-driven capabilities without compromising who they are. Okay, all right. So my outline is to support service-based professionals to identify and explore self-limiting beliefs and how it acts as a barrier to creating success in the workplace and performing to exceed companies' performance goals. The benefits is to empower individuals and teams to create a winning environment, to focus on increasing, oh, that's the same word. I've written to focus on building and increasing accomplishments, but that's the same thing, just different wording. Yeah, so I only have one thing for the benefits right now. I haven't.
So that's cool. My question to you is, what types, so I know there's service-based, but give me a name of a brand or a company that you could offer this to, so I can put it in perspective.
Sure. It could be like employment services, where they have to get a certain number of people jobs.
Okay. Okay.
It could be education, where they have to get the classes filled to make sure that they have retention. It could be foster parent agency, where they have to recruit. Any type of service-based industry where they have to, they've still got performance goals, company goals. They still have to make sure they're meeting the needs of their stakeholders.
Okay. Okay, totally get it.
Can I jump in on that, Michelle?
Yeah, go for it.
So partly what we're talking about here is this like a proposal for you to go in and do what, a lunch and learn or an audit? What is it that you think you'd like to do?
I think, okay, I could do lunch and learn, right? That's more of a teaching and demonstrating. or
Okay.
I could have a discussion and help them to identify and explore and bring it out, because maybe they don't really see it as a problem. So just unearth it. And then say, hey, afterwards, and say, hey, you know, this is what's going on in the team. I've heard their concerns. This is what they're battling with. And they understand that they have to perform at this level, but they really don't have the skill set, and they haven't really had the support to let go of how they view themselves, how they want to do their job. And they're in the middle, and they're very unhappy with their jobs, mind you, because this is a stretch, right? They've been stretched but not supported.
I love what you're saying. It sounds similar. I'll let Michelle. It sounds similar to an audit you're doing, because partly what you're doing is you are auditing and helping them quantify those terms which you have brought up. Yeah. And you know, when Michelle asked you the question, who would this be? And you said it could be an education that's trying to get people on seats. That is the type of conversation which is straight to the point and that everybody understands. If you said, I understand you're an organization and that you're looking to get more pupils in your class or retain your pupils in your staff. That is that's exactly the conversation that you want to have, as opposed to the other bits that set outside of that, because it's so it's so quantifiable that they can pick that up.
Problem.
You know? And so partly what we're talking about here is us conveying how we express what we're doing, but in copy. But also consider this: when you have, and this is for everybody around the table, when you have these conversations, remember that somebody else, like myself or Michelle or somebody else, has to explain to somebody else what the service is that you're providing. So you want to make it as easy as possible for them. So I could say, oh, there's this lady, Mercy Jenkins, and she's got a program that she's going to come and do a lunch and learn that will help us get more people in the classroom, or more whatever the quantifiable you're going to, whatever matrix you're going to use. Do you understand where I'm coming from? Because it has to be able to be easily explained, and she can, and then I would say, Mercy's coming to do an audit, so we'll be able to see where we are on that scale and how we might be able to remedy some of that or improve some of that. Again, it's something that's quantifiable. And then in our head, then we're thinking, oh, that's the reason why we're coming to the lunch and learn or the audit or whatever it is we do to get that information out. And then when you put that down on paper to them, you're answering, you're providing a solution. So always remember, it's not just for the sake of doing the lunch and learn, it's to get some information out that you can use to go on in a way that you either to do another lunch and learn or do another proposal or what have you. Is that clear?
Yeah, so I was just going to ask if you can explain a little bit more about the audit. I heard what you said, that it's to highlight the gap, right? But in that process of auditing, is it in the format of a lunch and learn? And I know in the back of my mind, I'm really doing an audit. Or is there a formality of, this is an audit, I've come to audit? No,
I don't. As Michelle said, you know, the terms that you use, you tailor it for the audience that you're there. So you don't officially have to call it an audit. You can say, you could call it a lunch and learn, but within that lunch and learn, you may ask some questions which form your audit or form the information that you're looking for. Or you may ask some questions which give you that conversation with them, if that makes sense. Yeah, so you don't have to formally call it an audit, but you're going to ask some questions or facilitate a workshop or facilitate something that will help you inform what what you want to convey and what the pain points are. So no, you don't have to officially call it audit. If they call it audit, just like how Michelle said, if they call it a workshop, she doesn't have to call it a masterclass. They've called it a workshop. She can go and do it. Talking their language. That's the language that the organization understands.
Brilliant. Guys, I'm going to move us on. I love this, but I want to make sure that I just give you this last bit of data and then Q&A. So guys, this is what I want you to make a note of. So in terms of identifying the decision makers, if you are going to help a company retain staff or help them with people, I've put here human resources or the people department. Doesn't have to be the human resources person. Anyone that has a title in their name around people, talent, development, those kind of things, those are the people you want to be targeting. It doesn't have to be just HR. So I just want to make that clear. And if you're helping companies with leads or with product launches like Katrina, then you want to be aiming for like the sales and the marketing department. And if you're targeting companies to help them with productivity, we heard an example from Rona, is probably the operations or different departmental heads or different departmental leads. The reason why I want to share this with you, because I want you to utilize, I'm going to give you 3 options, but if you're going to use LinkedIn, don't just go for people with the word human resources in their title. So think quite broader than that, because there are other people that do the job and they're not HR. So I just wanted to make a point of that. So when you use LinkedIn to find it, especially if you're using cold leads, be a resource. So share something with them, use some business intelligence to share back to them. And, you know, for example, you might say, if it's, I don't know, if it's any company, let's say, if it's the Sofitel Hotel, let's say, you can say, you send a message, you connect in with them as normal, but you share with them industry knowledge that only they would know, or people who are doing research on the company would know, because that way you're positioning yourself already in their mind, like, oh, okay, I didn't even, you know, somebody knows about this, and they're more engaged and they'd be more interested. So you can use LinkedIn. Also use specialized groups. I'm going to share with you a link of a group that I'm a part of, and all of you are more than welcome to come. It's they're based in Dubai. I told 2 of my clients today about it, but I'll open it up to other people as well. And literally, it's like a speed networking. And you might think, oh, I don't want to do that. Yeah, you do want to do that. You do want to do that, because I'm going to tell you, I've only been in it for like 3-4 weeks. And you go onto the speed networking, you introduce who you are. This is why I keep saying talk in pithy sentences, because you don't have much time. Introduce who you are, what you do, and what you're looking for from other people. And then what comes up, then a poll comes up straight after you've spoken. And the poll says, do you want to connect in with Michelle? They say yes. And then what happens? The host then gets all the contact details of everybody that said yes and sends you an Excel document. Now, I did mine last week, Wednesday. The next one's on the 28th of July. And on the people who wanted to contact me, I looked at the list. I've got my Excel. There was about 20. And I was like, oh, this person wants to talk to me, that person. It makes it easier when you want to sell into them later. So definitely join specialized groups. I'll send you the link. It's a LinkedIn event. It's absolutely free, but it's just worth doing. You've got nothing to lose. And now I've got 20 warm leads of people. And one of them was on there. She is the head of a HR department, just one department in Barclays in Dubai. Yeah, so this is what we're talking about. So now I have got inroads to somebody who works for Barclays. The fact, and I can leverage that I do training for Lloyd's Banking Group. I can now leverage that with them. So I'm trying to find connections, all right? This is how you find decision makers. And although it's a speed networking, there's lots of senior people in it. So join some specialized groups. Leverage your network. There are people in your network that know people that know somebody else who's already working in the companies that you want to do your roundtable, your lunch and learn, or your training for. So definitely do that. I want to end with this, and then Adrian, if you could just give a quick overview of the proposals. Additional services, guys. I've got, I'll show you the other list as well. Take a note, take a picture of this. Feel free to take this. These are all the additional things you can offer, not just training. You can do that. You can do team coaching. The ones I've highlighted actually in screen, they're the ones that I do, that myself and my team do. But these are other things you can offer. So instead of just saying training, and for some companies, the word training, it just brings up bad stuff for them, you know. So you want to be a bit more creative, you know. You could do, you know, you might say, on the back of this, I can do like a stakeholder analysis or stakeholder meeting. All that means is to get some different heads into a meeting. Let's talk, you can do your mentoring, then you can do your coaching. So it's still coaching, it's still mentoring, but I just want you to be a bit more creative in the terms, in how you talk and the kind of services that you deliver. So feel free to take a picture of that. You can do development of new policies, guidelines. You can do a multi-day seminar. I was saying to someone earlier that I did strategy days, and my strategy days were like 2.5 hours, 3 hours at the very most. And I literally just said, on the back of this, I want to offer a strategy day. This is how much it's going to cost. This is how long it's for. This is what you get. You also get the check-in sessions. You'll also get, I think I gave them like loads of other stuff really, but it's all there for the taking. And they said yes. And I think in that week or in that month, I booked about 4. Yeah. And here's some other ones. You can do like team building activities, project management services. You can do frameworks. You can do a meeting design. There's lots of stuff, keynotes. I think somebody mentioned today about doing keynotes. So take a picture of that. I've also put licensed training content, because you can create a piece of training for their LMS, which is their learning management system, that every time they have a new inductee, that they have to go through this program, and you've created the program, and you can license it to them where they pay you every year for it, and you might update it, or you might do a new video to add to it, but you can charge easily 30, 40 grand for that, easily. So these are opportunities that you can take a grab on. You can, it's all there for the taking. So take a note of that, because I'm going to move it on. So things to consider. Always consider this. I'm just going to put this all up here and take a note of this. Oh, I went too fast. So how do their competitors compare? Because when you're going to put your pitch, you know, to do your lunch and learn, you want to put some intelligence in there, so you know what's going on within the company. So these are types of things that you want to be thinking about. Are there any impending regulatory changes happening? Is the company going through changes? Is the industry going through a change? I know that the hospitality industry is being shaken up. So what does that look like? How can you help that industry? The music industry, IT, tech, everything is changing. Soft skills are becoming more and more prevalent and needed. So what can you offer around that? And this is where you gather the business intelligence. If you do even just 3 of them, you will find out about the company. You'll find out the gaps, what's happening. You'll know what their turnover is. So you know whether you should be charging 1,200 or 5,000, because you've got the intelligence here. Annual reports, check out their annual report. Check out media coverage. Go on their website, check out what their press releases. And that will be really good for you as well, Katrina, because on the press release, it might say, we are looking to launch something. You know, the press releases are always showing what's going to happen or what may have happened. You know, even check out their social media accounts. Look at the trade magazines. What magazines do they have in their field? Go on them. If you can write for these trade magazines, even better. So I said to people in my Facebook group, look at some of the trade magazines for some of the companies that you want to get in, and see if you can write a piece, see if you can be featured or be interviewed for a trade magazine. That's perfect. These are the magazines that they read. And also think about the in-house magazines. Call the reception, find out, do you have internal magazines that you have, which is just relevant to your organization? What's it called? And, you know, who's it published by? Find out, get it, find a way in, let them know, yeah, I wrote for this magazine. that, you know, I've been featured in. It's to do with their business, to do with their industry. So these are just some ideas that I want to share with you as a way of getting in and leveraging that credibility. You've got to leverage your credibility. You don't need to worry about you're not good enough, you're not big enough, you don't make as much money. All of that is rubbish, it's crap. What you have is what they don't have. And because then when you team up what you have with your unique skills and you team it up with the business intelligence, you're on to a winner. You're on to a winner. So just to recap, we've decided on what your high value strategy is. You've got an idea of who to contact. Remember, don't need to just go for HR. Look for people with other titles in their names. Like if you're, I'm using IBM as an example. You go into IBM, type IBM in LinkedIn, see all the names of people that come up. Now they may be your second or third connection, but if you look underneath, it says shared connection. Look at your shared connection. When you've looked in your shared connection, you may contact a couple of people that you actually know. They're not just there to increase numbers. And you find out from them, I want to get in contact with this person at IBM. I see you're connected. Are you actually really connected? Do you know this person? Can you do me an intro? All of those kind of things. That's what you want to be doing. Like I said, access the business intelligence, you know, use Accenture, McKinsey & Co. They've got rich data on different companies and different industries. And I've shared with you at least 38 ideas of how you can follow up in your service. So this is what I want you to do. This is what I want you to do. I want you to put together, which you've done already. You've done here. You've put your entry strategy together. Now you just need to find the one person. Just start with one person first, who you can sell this idea. Well, you're not selling, who you can serve this idea to. That's what you need to do. And the way that you've written it, that's all you have to do. And then once you put the business intelligence, put a few stats in there, a bit of data in there, you're on to a winner. You're on to a winner. So guys, any questions on that so far? Any questions?
I have a few.
Yeah, give me one question, darling, and then I just want to make sure that everybody else gets a chance. So yeah, share your questions for me.
Okay, just one. Okay, so so instead of writing the wording, do you also maybe suggest creating a flyer, a marketing material that you share as an attachment and send that, or not?
You can do that. You can do that. So what I tend to do, I can write it down, but I've also got a document that like when I do my strategy days, it'll be the same thing if I was doing a lunch and learn. It just follows the same sequence. And because I've got clients I've done it for, then at the bottom I can say other clients I've done this with are. So if you've got people or other organizations, add them as well.
Okay. And do you also mention price of my future products and services? That I don't mention price anywhere now. It's just introductory.
They're only getting you in for this thing.
Okay.
What you've got to do is get in, but you do a terrific job.
Okay.
I can't help you with that. No one else can help you with that. Okay. You do a really blinding job and you follow up on that. Mm-hmm. That's when you then sell, because what you want to do is they might be able to their budget might be higher than your price. So don't tell them your price yet until you've had a conversation.
Okay.
And find out from them. All
cool,
right.
Thank you.
Awesome. Any other questions from anyone else? Mercy, one question from you.
Yeah, so my question was, so you get in the door, you do the lunch and learn, it's great. They want you. For something that I'm doing, which is to work with individuals or a team leader, doesn't matter. How long what is your recommendation on how would I work with them? How would I schedule that?
How long you'll do your lunch and learn for, or your executive roundtable or something?
No, after the lunch and learn, the audit, and they're like, yeah, we like you. We want you to come back in and tell us your proposal, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know anything about this corporate training development space, right? So what is like the norm? Is it a 12-week process or once a month touch-in for, I mean, I have no idea. I don't know what that looks like.
Co-create. You co-create it with them. So you may have an idea and say, I can come in and deliver a training. But you can also say, and what I prefer to do is, let's co-create this session, this proposal together. So what would work well for you? What have you done before that's worked or what hasn't worked? So you do it from that perspective, because they may think, 3 hours is fine. Or you might say, I've experienced doing this for 2 hours, 3 hours. I think it could work here. What do you think? Knowing the types of people who are likely to attend, should we do it longer? Should we do it shorter? You have to co-create that. You co-create the information. So when you put your proposal together, the proposal is likely to be accepted because they've already fed into that. So when you're talking to them, you're writing down all the notes because that's all going into your proposal.
Okay. Can I jump in on that? And that is the reason why you do this lunch and learn. It's to learn this information. You learn who you're going to be talking to, what their expectations are, the frequency they might like, the audience that you might be going to. All of this is information that you will take information from and use to go into the next step, which is putting together your proposal.
Mm-hmm. Nice.
So there's no one way to do it. Each organization, if I was to sell you a car, the way that you would go about buying a car might be slightly different to how Sim might do it, or Dawn might do it. And the timings in which you want it and what you want it for might be slightly different. Well, they're all buying a car. It might even be the exact same car, but you do it in the buyer is the one that determines how and when and what they want.
Yes, definitely. Awesome. Simone, over to you.
Hi, it just links into what we're just speaking about, but just for confirmation. So in terms of my website, would you recommend that I put the pricing on the website or just don't even put it on there? Because I'm a bit, I don't know, I'm a bit stuck with that at the moment.
Yeah, you can do. You can put your price. I've put a pricing on there, but I still charge them more when I spoke to them because what they wanted was more than what I offer, which was on my website.
Okay.
So I have like my policy reviews, I think I said that starts from 250, but when I spoke to her, I quoted more because she wanted more. She wanted me to review them. Then she wanted me to create some more. So okay. I definitely put more on there.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Cool. What I want to do, so before we go, Adrian, could you just share, because I think this is going to be relevant to people in terms of your proposal masterclass. And like I said, we're not selling anything today, but if you want to follow up on this, come to this proposal masterclass because that's the next step. So at least you know what's next after you've done your lunch and learn. So if you could just share that with us for the next 2 minutes, that'd be great.
So the logical step that you make after you've done any of your roundtables, your audits, your corporate roundtables, any of these things, lunch and learns, is that they are probably going to say, can you put something on paper for me? Can you put forward a proposal? We're looking at options, and that requires you to put a proposal on the table for them. So what I'm putting on in the next couple weeks on August the 3rd is we're going to do a proposal workshop where we're going to go through what is a good proposal, what are the key elements that need to go in there, how you pull it together, what it needs to look like on paper, what things you need to consider. And by knowing that will also give you an indication as into what things you need to ask in your lunch and learn, or what you need to ask from the stakeholders, things like that. So that when you put your proposal on paper, it'll be a winning proposal. It'll be something that they've co-created, they've already signed up to, they see the need, they see the solution in what you're providing, and they understand how it will impact their organization. So that's the way that winning proposals are written, not just writing a proposal and letting it drop on somebody's desk and expecting them to buy from you. It doesn't work like that. Me and my teams, we always work on purpose, and we're going to be looking at things that we're interested in and that we require or we have a requirement in. Is that okay? So what I would like to say, if anybody wants to learn about how to do a proposal, and by the way, doing a proposal is different to doing a tender. That's another thing that's different. proposal, a bid, and a tender. They're all different things, and you approach them slightly differently. Very similar, but you approach them slightly differently. So if that's of interest to you, it's going to be free, a free workshop. Please put in the chat proposals so we can see the names of the people that want to learn about how to do a winning proposal. That's the next step that you want to do. Yeah, so anybody that wants to do a winning proposal, please come in and we'll send you the details, and we're going to have another masterclass like this, which will teach you basically the corporate proposal framework, the bits that go inside that and how you do it.
A template as well, that'd be good. If we, I've got some as well that I use. Yeah. So we will give you the template. We'll do it in a way that we do it on like PowerPoint slides, because I've got some as well, and how you would do it if you were just writing it. So you've got two options.
Two options. And then I'll also show you as well, you know, we'll have some bits where you can, what I call ask the buyer. You can ask some questions around, how do we see this? How do we interpret it? Things that you might not know are happening in the background when you see when you put your proposal in. So this is what you need to hear about. Okay, so that's the next step. The logical step, and that's on August the 3rd, so it's in 3 weeks. Don't miss out, because it'll be great for you and it'll be fantastic information for you.
Yay! So guys, how was today for you? How was today? We finished 15 minutes late, but I hope it was worth it. Please let me know in the comments below. I'm hot, but I'm sweating, you know. The lights are just making me sweat. Let's say brilliant. I'm so glad you enjoyed it. And I've put a link, and if you scroll up, I've put a link to the World Entrepreneur Speed Networking. It's happening on the 28th of July. It happens at 10 a.m. And 1 Dubai time, whatever that is, in the afternoon. So if you can come, you know, come, have your pitch ready, and let's see how many people, how many leads you can get. And they're quite senior. You know, I've got like people who work in the hotelier business, quite senior. So, and then you follow up with it. Just make sure you follow up. So guys, thank you so much.
Hi, Michelle, did you say you were putting that link in the chat?
Yes. Have you seen it? I can redo it because I think it's gone up.
Yeah, I can't see it.
All right, let me put it back again.
Okay, great. Thank you.
No worries. Any other final questions before we go, guys? Oh, thanks, Adrian. Putting that there.
No problem.
Brilliant.
Can I also mention something as well? I just show you something. When we're doing our presentations, we're also trying to demonstrate how you can do it. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I want you to take a note of something. Michelle and myself did this together because it's not easy to do everything like this all on your own. So I would suggest you get a partner, get somebody that can help you, even to sit down in the background, run the room for you, do some of your responses and bits and pieces like that, so you can concentrate on doing your presentation. Because it's a key thing. The more assistance that you have, the more smooth it's going to be. If you're thinking about trying to run how to answer the questions or look at all the raised hands and do your presentation, it's very easy to get flustered. So sometimes, especially in this online world, it's much easier to get somebody that you can run it with, rehearse with, can have all the background stuff. So for example, if Michelle's machine went down, I can bring up her slides. You know, if she went out, we're recording to cloud. All of this administration bits that happen in the background help support the professionality of your delivery. So remember that. Don't try and do that on your own. Get some help if you need it. Is that okay?
That's really good. And some of these companies as well, always find out if you can have a tech run through. So with all the ones I've done, they've either a day before or in the morning, if I'm doing this data, there's always ask for a tech run through, because they have, especially if they have their own platform, you don't want to be left like what the hell. So definitely check in also if a tech run through. So guys, I'm really keen to see, you know, please, I think I'm connected with everybody in some shape or form. Please do let me know how you're getting on. I want you to say to me, oh my God, Michelle, I've spoken to somebody and they're interested. Even if they're interested is a good start. It's so possible, especially if you've got to do it for free. It's just an easy way in. Yes, I am hot, Dawn. So guys, I think we're done. We're done. But guys, it's been an awesome pleasure. And I'm so glad that you've enjoyed it. I'm so glad that you've stayed with us to the end. Please keep in contact with me and let me know how things get on. And those on the corporate collaborative, you've got homework to do. That's
exactly right. Also, do you know what? We might reach out to some of you for some testimonials or some bits and pieces like that. Yeah, just to help us. And again, we're demonstrating, you know, what you need to do for the day as well. Because if you saw somebody like yourself, there might be more interaction with other people as well. That if you found this helpful, if you want us to do something like this again.
Yeah. Sounds good. All right, guys. Thank you so much. Have an awesome evening wherever you are. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Take care.
Thank you, everybody.
Thanks, Sasha.
Thanks,
Good
Sasha.
to see you. Hold on, stay there. Adrian,
Yeah,
can
I'll
you
stay.
Recording?
Yeah.
Has the recording stopped?
I'll stop the recording now.